Rất vui được gặp lại quý vị trong cuộc trao đổi kế tiếp với giáo sư Peter Petri. Professor Pitt, thank you for your saying about TPP in generally. However, we wish to know more about the impact of TPP to Vietnam economy. So far, I learned that you know Vietnam more than 10 years. Have you tried Vietnamese coffee, any Vietnamese good in the state?
I've had Vietnamese coffee, and you may not know this, but in America now, there is a big interest building in Vietnamese coffee. So in specialized restaurants, you can order Vietnamese coffee, and people enjoy it very much. It's a very unusual delicacy. And I have also had other Vietnamese products, catfish, and some clothes, some shirts that came from Vietnam. So it's obviously not quite as important in American markets as China, but people know about it, and people do like Vietnamese products.
Isn't it the result from the BTA between two countries? And now can we expect with TPP we can increase 10 times, 100 times more export to U.S. with TPP?
Yes, it's the result of past agreements like the BTA and the WTO agreement. And yes, it should lead to increase. 10 or 100 times sounds very big.
1,000.
Or 1,000 sounds very big. But I think my colleagues and I have made estimates.
Yes.
And they suggest very substantial increases, maybe more like 20% in exports. You know, this agreement is still very much in negotiation, so nobody quite knows what the final rules will be. And those rules, if they're very favorable to Vietnam, then it will generate very large increases. If they're not so favorable, they will generate smaller increases. But almost certainly, there will be increases. When two countries join together in a trade agreement, a lot of things happen. Businesses begin to look more closely at each other's markets, investment opportunities, people travel more. So all kinds of new activities, new entrepreneurial talents are brought into the market.
Let's say about the export again. So far, we still export just mainly that crude product like agricultural product, seafood, and just not high-tech product like garment, textile. With TPP, do you think that we can get more investment, capital, technology, boosting to the supporting industry, and then Vietnam in near future we can expand export to high-tech product, to high-value product than just true product.
Yes, and by the way, I mean Vietnam does export some agricultural products like rice and fish. But it also exports a lot of textiles now, garments, and even, for example, cell phones or electronic products that it manufactures. So in all of these industries, there is beginning to be a very strong presence. Now, what does not fully exist yet in Vietnam are the deeper suppliers to these industries, the more advanced technologies that make the parts for cell phones.
And in this situation, within the TPP partner, will we have any, what we say, like economic division? For example, Vietnam can handle electronic export, manufacturing. Peru will handle around cultural product, etc., etc.?
Yes, almost certainly that is going to happen. And Vietnam is already the second largest exporter of garments to the United States. The first largest is China, but Vietnam is the second largest. And what we think will happen is that in certain industries, there will be new centers of production, new clusters of companies and industries established. and that Vietnam will be a very important one, certainly in the garment industry and then maybe in the industries that supply the garment industry, make parts for clothes, make buttons and belts and sort of related parts, but eventually also in the electronics manufacturing industry, maybe in some auto parts industries. So remember that this TPP agreement is not just about the United States. It also, for example, will include Japan.
Yes.
And Japan has many factories that it operates around the world. It has good technologies. Japan is a very important manufacturer of automobiles, so it is establishing supply chains for its auto industries. So over time, this group of countries, as they study each other and get to know each other better, will establish an increasing number of new clusters specialized in the economies that are best for them.
Yeah. At that time, people will boost more the specialization depend on the advantage of the country.
That's right. I mean, we in the United States now are very good at doing things on the internet. Facebook and all of those things are now being developed in small American firms, sometimes become very large firms. So we want to make sure that those have wide markets around the world. But at the same time, we're not very good in garments, even in some parts of automobiles or even in some electronics parts. So we want to be able to import those at good prices from other countries.
And also TPP will not just explore our market. If investor set up industry here, they also look forward another market like China, Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly they will look for markets that are other TPP countries like Japan, a big market, Canada, Mexico, so on. But eventually when they become productive, they will be also better able to compete in markets like China, Europe, and so on. And Vietnam is not just putting all of its eggs in the TPP basket.
Yeah.
Vietnam is also working on trade agreements with Asian countries and with Europe. So Vietnam is very smart. It is diversifying its future economic growth.
Yeah, we play many chessboard at the same time.
You should. That's how to win.
How about the financial service? Or otherwise, we would say that service economy. How can we gain the benefit from TPP?
Yeah. Well, what will likely happen in services is that your markets will be a little more open, which will mean that foreign companies will establish branches in Vietnam and will do more business here. Now, some people might say, isn't that bad for Vietnam because it will mean that Vietnamese companies will lose a little bit of their business. But remember, those foreign companies will still hire Vietnamese workers. They will still provide good services, better services to Vietnamese companies. So opening service markets may change the composition of companies that operate here, but will probably make those industries more productive and better for Vietnamese companies and consumers to work with.
Thank you, Professor. Actually, the information like that makes us to feel very good future. Good. However, I think we still have a lot of concern and challenge ahead. Yeah. I think we will talk about that in the next part. Thưa quý vị, chúng ta vừa trao đổi về những cái ảnh hưởng rất là tốt cho nền kinh tế Việt Nam nếu chúng ta tiếp tục đẩy mạnh tham gia TPP. Tuy nhiên, bên cạnh đó thì vẫn sẽ có những cái thách thức, vẫn có những cái vấn đề mà chúng ta cần phải giải quyết tốt.